that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Yo-ho! Welcome back, everybody. Today is April 6th, Coffee with Closers edition. Gavin is having some technical difficulties, so he'll be right back. And Don should be on shortly. So you guys got me for a couple minutes this morning. I hope everybody's having a great day. And we are going to be talking real estate, answering all of your real estate questions. So just to kick this thing off, if you guys have questions right out the gate about a particular topic or deal, would love to help you answer those questions while we are waiting on the rest of the crew. And there's Gavin. Welcome.
Mate, we're struggling over here, but we're here. We're making it happen.
Okay. How are things, man? Who's your buddy here?
Oh, yeah. So this is Shane Malpass. He's from the UK. We're in Orlando right now. How we doing, all? You all right?
Nice.
Yeah. So he's
from going to Disney?
No, I'm coming to see you tonight.
Nice.
So, but yeah, we've been just hanging out for a few days. He came in from the UK, but I wanted to get him on because he does, he flips pretty much motorhomes, right? So he does exactly. So you know how like we buy houses?
Yep.
They have like we buy caravans or we buy motorhomes. So they're doing like similar marketing to us.
Do it for a caravan. I'll do it for a caravan.
Brad Pitt from Snatch.
That's Snatch. That's right. I love that movie, man.
So anyway, yeah. So that's why I wanted to get him on. Is Don joining us? I thought
I'm not sure. I haven't talked to him, but either way, let's kick it off, man. We're here. We're rocking and rolling.
Well, let me know if you can hear us. By the way, if we start going in and out,
I can hear you fine. You guys are good.
Cool. So I'm going to start off with asking you a question, Dave. Right? If we spent $1,000 on PPC leads, right? How many leads would we generate for one day? $1,000, do you think? And I'm going to ask you two questions on this. I'm going to ask you nationwide, and I'm going to ask you local.
That is good. That is a good question. Leads, typically, they're going to be anywhere from 100 to 300, 400. So, you could get 5, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
You could get 2. You could get 6. I don't know. It just depends. It varies. Nationwide, I feel like you're going to get a lot more and they're going to be cheaper because you're going to be targeting, rural areas.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just target, your main metro, it may be much more. So it really depends.
Yeah. But still, what, $85 a lead nationwide, I would say.
An average?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if you're doing the entire nation. Yeah, that's probably not bad.
Or higher, right?
Yeah, or higher. Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, it can change. If somebody else comes in, it's an auction. So if somebody else comes in and they're willing to pay, $150, they're going to get all of those leads before you're going to get any, assuming your bid isn't at or above that number. So you can have swings where certain days it's really high and certain days it's much cheaper or not any leads at all in certain cases. So it really just depends. That is a tough question to answer because there's a lot of variables.
This is why I asked. So he did £1,000 yesterday. Let's say that's $1,300 for the day yesterday. How many leads did you get?
80 leads.
80?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Ridiculous.
That's a lot of leads. So were they all out in the middle of nowhere, or did you get some that were in the in metros? Or
it's UK wide. I mean, I'd love to be able to get more leads local, but it just doesn't happen. If I wanted them in my area, you just struggle. You pay so much more for them. But Gav was really laughing at the price of our clicks or cost per conversion, which is written down next to me. It's about $1.40, $1.50.
Man, that is there must not be very many people targeting the entire UK.
Yeah. And obviously this is motorhomes, right? But I'm even thinking, what if we did PPC for houses? It's got to be way better than ours.
See, I'd also be interested to know how many key phrases you've got on your ads.
Like, how many keywords do we use if we run PPC?
Mine is pretty basic. Mine's very, very basic. In fact, I don't even have one going right now. We just turned it off a few days ago because we're kind of restructuring some of our marketing.
Yeah.
I've had campaigns in the past with 500 to 1,000 different keywords. I think right now we maybe have like 30 or 40, so it's not very many.
Yeah. So you're going to be going for the premium words then,
for the most part, unless you do 500 to 1,000, then you can have a lot of other ones in there. And we typically do broad, where it can be other words that aren't the exact but mean the same thing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, people are going to type things.
Lost. We're back.
You guys are cutting in and out just a hair.
Yeah,
Don, good morning, brother.
How's it going, guys?
How are you?
Lovely.
Good. I'm good. I'm here in Florida at the Omni Resorts, waiting for you two gentlemen to come join me, so that we can have a good time. This is a beautiful spot. Woke up to an ocean view. This is like an all-encompassing campus that has restaurants and a few little cocktail lounges on it. So it's going to be a good time to be here and network with some incredible people.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
What time are you getting in, Dodge?
I actually fly in tomorrow night.
Oh, not today.
Or afternoon, evening.
Okay.
Tomorrow or today?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you sure? You told us today.
Yeah, I'm missing a day because we had an event planned here and we ended up not doing it. And we already had the flights and hotels. And I was like, I'll miss one of the days, but whatever. It's all good.
Got it.
You going to be okay with that?
I don't know. I might have to.
If you want, we can FaceTime later tonight, brother. I got you.
I might have to.
Are you here already, Gavin?
No, I'm in Orlando, but I'm driving. I leave about 2 o'clock, so I'll be there probably about 5:30. Yeah.
I think the important thing here to stress, and I know we say this a lot, is your network is important in this business. The community you surround yourself with, being able to just build these bonds and friendships is huge, and I can't wait to see you guys. You guys are like brothers now, so it's time for me and Gavin to have a good time because I owe him a good time. So for sure. So I can't wait. So there's already some really incredible people here already networking. They're doing the kind of mini mastermind day one and spent a lot of good information so far.
It's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, when we got cut off, what were we just saying? We were getting to, keywords. How many keywords do you use?
Probably get on for 1,000.
That's a lot. That's good.
But
how are the leads? You've got an 80 leads off $1,000. That's a ton of leads. Have you started talking to any of these people? Are they quality?
Yeah, so some of them are. Some of them, in terms of RVs, some of them are going to be like 30 years old. So you're just not going to want them really. But yeah, general quality is pretty good. And then it's just down to the phone call. I mean, we try and call them straight away because it's fresh in the mind. Then as soon as you start to leave it a day or so, they might have changed their mind, or something might not have, or they've contacted 3 other people.
Yeah,
we'll see.
How quickly? I think the difference is as well. Like a lead comes in, on average, how long does it get you to get out to buy it? Like, is that a week or 2 days?
I'd probably guess it's a week from start to finish, because we'll always, I mean, I know it's a longer time scale for you guys, but we'll always call straight away, but we won't offer straight away. So we'll get the information and then we'll probably call 2-3 days down the line. There's a good chance with it being quite a quick sale that somebody else is going to get in touch in that timeline and give them the bad news of a low price. And then you can hopefully sneak in there and
get it.
Yeah.
And they're moving 40 to 60.
Yeah, we're getting 50, probably 50 a month, 60 a month, something like that.
50 to 60 deals
a month.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy, dude.
So
where do I sign up for the coaching program, man?
Yeah. We're now also going shiny object. We're all going to the UK flipping motorhomes.
So yeah, if you don't mind, let's dive in. Tell us about this business. So are you just in the UK? Are you elsewhere? What does this consist of to flip these type of properties, so on and so forth? I'm so curious.
I mean, yeah, it's just in the UK. I mean, I'd love to have something over here, but I can't imagine having to buy something 14 hours away and having to drive it back. You know, we'll go out, we'll buy 3 a day, 2, 3 a day, and we tend to be back in the office within 8, 9 hours. But we'll buy everything, and everything for us is wholesale, so everything goes straight to an auction, and we just let the bidders have it then. It's a bit like anything at the moment. Any vehicle, there's not many around.
Rita, how are you?
Hey.
They said hi. she can't,
Sorry, I thought he was on a Zoom with our team.
she thought I was on a Zoom.
We're live in front of 1,000 people.
Looks like they're frozen here. That's interesting. You're back. You're back. So are you driving all of these back, or are you buying them sometimes where they're affixed to a piece of property or maybe in a park? Is it typically?
No, this is you know, like my RV.
Yeah.
The motorhome, all wheels.
So this is not mobile homes.
No,
this is actually
yes,
motorhomes.
Yeah, like mine.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So how does the auction work? Is it something that you host and have built, or is it a third-party site that you're using, or?
Yes, it's a third-party site. It's one called British Car Auctions, and they'll just all put it through. Like, the fees aren't. I'd love to know what the fees are over here for an auction. I guess they'd be quite expensive, but we probably pay $300. About $300 per vehicle to go through. So it's not much at all.
What's the margin? Like, I mean, what are you averaging on? I should say, what's your cash on cash? If you're buying an RV for $100,000, let's just say, and that's probably higher than what you're paying. What would you expect to get a return?
If I was buying something for $100,000, I'd expect 115-ish. It's probably 15%, 20%, somewhere around there.
Okay, that's not bad. That's what we try to do on houses, about 15% cash on cash.
Yeah.
So, very cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So how are you marketing for these deals typically?
The marketing's mostly what do you call it? PPC, Google Ads, Facebook. Obviously, you've got a lot of social media out there. I mean, we've never been in a time where we can use social media that's free, really, and get so many views out there, YouTube and so on. You know, a bit like this. Just start putting the message out, get people to know you.
Yeah.
And the more people know you, the more people trust.
I think, are we still breaking up, or are we good?
A little. You're good. You're okay.
Are you sure? Sorry. I mean, we're doing the best over here.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah, but I think it's unique because obviously having the buying power, right, is important. So it's literally the same as our business, except for it's faster, right? And things happen quicker. So you're making money faster. There's less follow-up. So running ads, I mean, when he said 80 yesterday, I still couldn't get over it. I was thinking if I could generate 80 leads for $1,300 on PPC, just think of the money we could make. It'd be ridiculous, right? But when they're buying it, I mean, how many sales guys do you have?
3.
So 3 acquisition. You got how many drivers?
5, 6.
5 drivers that are going to pick them up, take them to auction. You do 2 auctions a month.
Yeah.
So if you think like you do your work, acquisition, you acquire the motorhome, and then you get it cleaned up, you roll it into auction in like 20, 30 at a time, and then they just come through auction, people bid, they buy them, and you make your money and you go again. So when we talk about building a buyer's list and all that nonsense, you're just putting it through auction.
Yeah. Well, we are at the same time. We are trying to collect a buyer's list, because you never know. That auction house one day might just turn around and say, "Sorry, we're not doing these anymore." And you never want to put all your business into one pot.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's
so.
Are you paying cash or cashier's checks, or how does that work? Like if it's a 6 or 10 or 15 or even 20 or 30 grand, cash may work and be easy. But if you're buying something for 80 grand, are you showing up with a bag of cash?
So we have. I don't realize how the difference is over here. We have something called faster payment bank transfer, and it's an instant transfer. Doesn't matter the value. Doesn't matter how many times. So if we've got 10 $100,000 motorhomes to pick up in one day, we can just do it instantly.
Nice. That's awesome. My buddy Rob says, what's the average ad spend per deal? What are you guys spending per deal to pick up one of these motorhomes?
If I had to guess, I'd probably say 500.
500? Nice. Okay. And you guys are making a 15% margin? That's great. That's awesome. And you're doing how many of these a month? This is crazy.
About 50, somewhere around
50. Holy cow. That's amazing.
Okay, so let me
because I was in the CRM yesterday going through the whole process, and I was like, yeah, that's good.
let me ask this. So then, what's the average purchase price of these mobiles? I mean, I just want to get a gauge of the business. I mean, is it? I mean, you're averaging 20 or 30 grand a unit, or are you up to 50, 100 grand a unit? I mean, what do you average?
Probably the average at the moment is probably $65,000, somewhere around that range.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's going up. It's going up and up and up. I mean, our RVs over here in the UK aren't quite as expensive as the big boys over here in the US, but they are getting more expensive. Everything's gone up probably 15, 20% just this year alone in cost.
So you're bringing in $250,000, $300,000 a month.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Flipping motorhomes.
It's awesome.
When are we starting? Are we going all in?
I love it.
Okay, Dave, you, me, and Gavin, we got to start a coaching business, flipping motorhomes in the U.S.
Yes, I'm in.
We should look at it, like, seriously.
So this is a dumb question, but how far are you guys typically driving, and how long does it take to drive across the UK? Because if I got to drive all the way to Washington State, man, I don't know if it's worth it, right? That's a big drive.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. That's why, like I said, I'd love to come over here and do it, but it's just such a long distance. I mean, our average drive is probably 2.5 hours.
Is the UK about the size of Texas, give or take, or?
The UK fits in Texas 2.5 times.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that puts things into perspective. You guys are like the size of Tennessee then.
There's just a lot of people. But
there's a lot more people.
Yeah.
A lot more.
It gives you a grand idea of the scale of the U.S. when you realize an entire country's fit into one state.
Yeah,
I mean, even Canada, as large as it is land-wise, the population size of Canada is the same size as the state of California.
That's right.
I mean, Texas.
Yeah, I mean, Texas got a population of just less than 30 mil. I mean, we've got 70 just in the UK.
Yeah, so you're like Texas and California population combined, but the size of Tennessee, which is insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we live where I used to live, where he lives. We're in the middle of the country, and we're just talking about this because it's a perfect spot. Because then you're only 2, 3, 4 hours max from any direction, wherever you need to go. So that helps. It's not like we're way south and we have to go 10 hours to go all the way to north. If that makes sense.
Interesting. I love it, man. So how many leads are you guys typically getting to get a deal? What's the lead to deal ratio?
I'd probably say it's probably getting towards 1 in 30, which I don't know whether that's. I think that's pretty low. Whether we could do more, but as Austin said in the comments, broad match gives you less qualified leads. I think there's things you can do with that to try and improve that. Obviously, make sure that your ad's right in the first place, so it explains what's going to happen. And on the website, the same thing. What happens when you fill in this form?
Okay, here's a good question. How do you know it will auction above what you paid for it? Do you guys have a reserve that you can put on it? Yeah,
I'll put that down to my knowledge. Really, we probably for argument's sake, let's say we bought 600 last year. I think we missed on 3. And when I say we missed on 3, they probably missed on that first auction, then went back in the next one and made more than what we paid for it.
All right. How do you decide to go this route in REI? I don't even know if this is really real estate per se. It's vehicles. But it's still investing. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think, well, the unique thing is it's pretty much exactly the same thing, other than we do houses and apartments or multifamily, and he's doing it with mobile homes. I mean, we're running ads, we're marketing, we're acquiring the vehicle or the house, and then we're selling it and we're reselling it. Either we're wholesaling it or we're flipping it or whatever we're going to do.
I think the fundamentals are the same. The fundamentals of pick a path, understand your product, understand your consumer. So, pick a path in REI, understand, the product, the house, you're doing single family, you're doing multifamily, you're doing a certain market, are you doing national, understand your end buyer, are you flipping retail, are you selling wholesale to an end buyer? Like, it's the fundamentals are the same. The product knowledge that you've gained through the years of doing this, you could probably look at a motorhome and know the year and the miles on it, and the condition, and know almost exactly what you can sell it for. And it's kind of the same thing, Dave. Your markets in St. Louis. You can, if I gave you a zip code in a certain street, you pretty much know ballpark for that square footage of the house, what it's going to take to rehab it, and what you're going to be able to sell it for. So it's all fundamentally, it's all the same thing.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I mean, with Gav, it's been interesting talking techniques. Because everything's the same, this is why you guys do this sort of thing, because you want to learn.
Yeah.
You're going to just take one little bit of information that you've learned from this call today.
Yeah.
It might just change how everything works.
100%.
That's awesome, man. How long you been doing this for? And how'd you get into it?
It was my dad actually that started doing it. He's been doing it. I used to go into my dad's work when I was like 5 years old, and we've been doing this as a company for about 15 years now.
But in fairness to him, you were probably doing 4 or 5 units with your dad.
Yeah, well, before me,
a month.
When my dad retired, which was around the COVID time, I think we were doing about 10 to 12 a month. So now we're doing 50, 60.
His dad was holding him back.
Dude, that's 5X it. I love it, man. That's amazing. That's so cool.
That's my hope as a parent as I bring my sons up, is that they will take whatever I'm doing and 10X it. I mean, that's the goal, right? Generational change. We take it as far as we can. They take it to another level, and then hopefully their children's children take it to another level. So it's fantastic.
Awesome. No, it's good. We did just what the other thing is that was weird. I mean, you just said that you bought one, that you bought a motorhome and sold it to someone at the auction. A year later, bought the same one back from the seller, sold it to the same guy again who bought it the first time, in the auction for 14,000 more.
Yeah, it was everything.
Wait, what? Can you explain that a little bit? This is crazy.
It's too wild for Dad.
What?
Yeah. So just think about a car, right? Your car. And we buy your car, and then we put it in auction.
And then I go to the auction and buy it?
No. So
Okay.
I buy the car from you, right, as a seller, and we put it through auction. The cash buyer at the auction buys it and then sells it retail. Okay. A year later, we do ads. We buy the same car from the seller. He bought the car again, sold it to the same cash buyer for 14,000 more. And then obviously they retail it. So people at auction are buying it and then retailing them out.
Yeah. So the same as your investors.
Yeah. Okay. So the people that are going to the auction are typically dealers.
Oh,
they're not the end user most of the time. And I'm sure there's some, but most of the time. So
100% dealers.
Nice. So tell me about these motorhomes. Is there like what defines a motorhome?
Same as an RV over here. They're just smaller. We just haven't got the space that you guys have got here.
Is there like a minimum size that you're looking for? Like, what's the buy box consist of?
The buy box was that?
So just like, what are you looking for?
You have a certain length, a certain weight.
Okay, that doesn't really matter. We tend to go for the more mainstream ones because a lot of people, I imagine it's the same here, where people are converting their own. They'll buy a van and put a bed in the back of it and think it's the best thing they've ever done. So we try and go for the proper manufactured things.
Yeah. So are we going in and out again?
I'm laughing because my brain goes to buy a van and put a bed in it. And over here we call those predators. But
Rick Andy.
He does that as well. Oh dear.
So Yeah, it seems like this is a really good business. You're doing a lot of volume. I mean, what's the average length of time that somebody would own a mobile home for? Because I guess you're not just landlocked by the UK, right? There's a tunnel that gets you into
France, yeah.
Into France. So you
Well,
could essentially go all over, because I'm just thinking, like, in comparison, like if I got a mobile home or a motor home or an RV, whatever you want to call it, and I was just going to go check out, you know, let's say, you know, Texas, I feel like I could check out Texas in like 3 weeks, and then I'd be like, all right, what am I going to do with this mobile home now? But you're not limited to that, right? And I guess camping and lots of other stuff too.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, we could go to France and everything like that, but then you've got to start importing them, and then it gets hard work.
Sure. But what I'm saying, though, is that the end buyers can take them over there. You're not necessarily marketing there or dealing with that, but they can go there. So the end buyer's not just limited to the UK.
No, not at all. Although I'm not sure.
There's ferries and stuff like that as well too.
Yeah, although I'm not sure how far east people are willing to go at the moment in Europe.
Yeah,
because of Russia doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
So what's next, man? You gonna scale this thing up to 80 to 100 of these a month, or?
That's the aim, yeah. I just need to learn a bit more to get more leads in and get them out at the other end. Hence why it's been good talking to Gav and you guys. You just might pick up that a little bit more.
The thing is that they don't, in my opinion, they don't utilize enough is the follow-up. Right? Because as much as, like, yeah, if you want to sell, like, it's easy, it's the market to sell, but people get lazy. They talk about selling, then they don't do anything, and it sits. Mm-hmm. Like I said, quite easily, probably there's another 4, 5, 6 you can buy through follow-up. And they do follow up,
for sure.
But not how we would do it. I mean, we'll pound the phone for months on end to get deals. You know,
we follow up for years because, you know, people will procrastinate on making a decision or their situation changes. 100%. Yeah.
Here's a really good question. How much are you putting into these things to flip them before you send them to the auction? Is that number 0? Or are you cleaning them out, filling up the tank, you know, swapping out tires? Are you guys doing any of that type of maintenance or upgrades to these things?
Not really, no. There's not much. You might have to just sort out a bit of damage on something. If they've crashed into something in a parking lot, but that's about it. But you're talking 200, 300, 400.
Okay. Are you guys getting temporary insurance to move them?
No. You just have something they call a trader's policy that you take out, and you can just drive anything.
Nice.
So it works well.
That's awesome.
The other thing as well, title. This was pretty amazing. Title is instant. So you go online and you can just put in the whatever, the VIN or whatever, and then you just take ownership immediately, and it's yours.
That makes it easy. You're not having to wait or deal with a bunch of third parties. That's cool.
It doesn't sound like the USD DMV, huh? I mean, the US DMV.
Oh man, is there a tax that you have to pay to transfer it, or any sort of licensing requirements?
No, it's all free. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, ours is called the DVLA, and when COVID hit, they shut down for about 6 months. Went into lockdown for about 6 months, and then when they came out of lockdown, all the staff went on strike because they had to go back to work. So there was a problem then. If everything was paper, we'd have an issue, but everything's online.
So that makes it easy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we had another question here. So are you able to buy it so low that a wholesaler can buy it and still make money on it? It sounds like it, because you're not dealing with the end buyer typically unless they're at the auction.
No, I mean, I guess probably similar to you guys. I mean, we have, when you're at the auction, you've got a nice long list of different buyers. There's not necessarily a set price of what something's worth. I mean, how do you value a home?
Looking at the comps, what's sold.
Yeah, and they vary still, right?
Absolutely.
You know, if you've got different style houses on different streets.
A 2-story with a single, for instance.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say. So within reason, it's down to interpretation of what you think it's worth. And then you're hoping when you've got a list of 200, 250 buyers at the auction, that somebody's going to value it at more than you are. You know, I'm sure that you've got your list of buyers, and I'm sure that some are going to pay more money for certain homes or in certain areas. It's the same principles.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's just knowing, it's just knowledge, isn't it? Like we could go into the UK right now and generate and do everything that we do, but then we look at a home, we'd have to go on to like Auto Trader or RV Trader or whatever it is, and then go, well, what are they selling for? Oh, these are what they're listed, and are we buying it in the similar condition and we're under? I mean, that's how I would do it if I was starting to do it. But the difference is that he knows from model to make very quickly because he's been doing it, where we'd have to rely on the internet and the numbers, just like virtually going into a house market, right? If we don't know that area, we have to look at what's sold and what's active, and that's the only thing we have to go off because we don't have local knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, how many buyers do you tend to have on a list?
A lot, thousands on the email and several hundred on the SMS list, and then there's obviously lots of other ways to unload properties, right? But yeah, to answer your question, like several thousand for the most part.
There are people they'll brag about having tens of thousands of buyers, but when you really break it down, you look at your business and who's actually buying. You have a core group of buyers.
Oh yeah,
Most of
absolutely.
us do. Most of us do.
There's only 20 or 30 people that are buying, 70%, give or take.
Right. And that's in some cases, some people even have less than that. So I think it's relatively the same. There are people who are professionals in this business who are doing this as a business. They're buying these, they're putting them on lots, they're selling them retail, and then you got the what's the word I'm looking for? But you have the randoms that come in, probably looking for a deal, and it's the same thing with us.
So how do you then get those? So you've got a house that you're looking to buy or buy for a buyer. How do you then choose who's going to buy that?
Who's willing to pay me the most money for it?
We can text or we'll send out emails or whatever, and then we say, hey, this is what we've got, and then we can bid. But I have like my favorite buyers, so sometimes like we have just go-tos and we all have that because it's easy. Like if I know you're a buyer and I like you, I'll take 3, 4, 5 grand less just to deal with you and not have someone pull out the deal.
It's the bird in the hand, right? We know for sure they're going to close. They're going to close on time. They're not going to give us any grief or drama, and that's important.
Yeah.
Tell me about the best deal that you've ever done with an RV or a mobile.
See, when we get together tomorrow, he's going to be like, "Do you think we can do this?"
I'm already setting up my AdWords.
I'm thinking of it myself. Yeah.
Well,
best deal. I mean, I think the best one that I'm just trying to think. We had something that was about 32 foot, which in the UK is quite long, but it'd been used by a professional race bike team, motorbike team, and it was just a bit battered. And we did spend a bit of time doing some work to it. And I think that was just a rare situation where we made about $40,000 on it.
That's awesome. You bought it for 30 and then doubled the sale price.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
I've done that with single family homes a couple times, but like we're talking buy something for 10 and sell it for 20. It's much lower margins than, to be able to double. That's awesome. That's great.
Our best deal we bought for 4 and sold for 104.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually, now that you say that, we've done one like that too. We bought one for like $3 grand and sold it for a little over 100 as well. But it was a unique deal because it was basically a gamble on if FEMA would buy it or not. And we had to hold it for 2.5 years. So I guess, that's pretty cool.
And you don't mind holding it when you've only got 4 into it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
What's the worst case? What's the worst case scenario with that?
What do you mean?
Ours was immediate. Just so you know, ours was a transaction. We closed on it around, sold it within 2 weeks. But
that's great. How'd you get it so low, man?
We got a phone call that just said, "I'm done with this property, and I'll give it to you." And we said, "We gotta give you something." I mean, what would you take? And she was like, $4 grand. It's like, all right. And the property was in bad condition, so we didn't know for sure if we were going to be able to sell it for 104 or not. Right on top without having to put any money into it. It was the condition of the market at the time. It was one of those situations where we're able to just turn around and dump it without even touching it, and get a good price for it. So,
Yeah,
It's awesome.
So
what was the motivation behind that seller? Do you remember?
just done over it. Didn't want to deal with it anymore. It had been vacant for a period of time. They had some bad luck with renters, and it was one of those situations. It was like the perfect storm. I don't want this anymore. I don't care if I have to write you a check to get rid of it. That was essentially the mindset of the seller. We come across those every once in a while. I mean, that's like the unicorn, but unicorns do exist, right? It's just they're few and far between.
That's great. So cool. So any other type of marketing other than pay-per-click and AdWords? Are you doing any type of direct mail or just anything else?
It's mainly. I think times have changed over the years. I mean, we used to do a lot in the papers, newspapers, magazines, but it's not there anymore.
The other thing is, and this goes for, we froze again. This goes for houses as well. Like in the UK, we can't get lists, right? So we can't mail unless they're on like Rightmove, which is the equivalent of Zillow, right? Where we can see the information and we could then mail in that way. But we can't get the list. So we can't pull lists and start mailing, cold calling, texting. We don't have the ability through data protection. So when you look at like, if we were going to go and do houses in the UK, I mean, PPC is literally your option, Google AdWords.
It's the best way because it's, if somebody's looking to sell something, the first thing you do is look online to see what it's worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you search it, get your keywords right, and you're most of the way there.
This is really fascinating. I love it, man. So cool. It's a great business, making tons of money, doing tons of deals. Man, very, very cool. This is really cool.
Do you think we could get lists for like RVs? I don't know. Like, could we get lists for like here for like RV owners?
I mean, I would imagine you probably could somewhere.
I mean, imagine if we were cold calling to buy RVs and flipping them. Possible.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
I mean, I'd probably say over here that would be, if you could get that list, I think you've got a much higher chance than the house, because I'm sure people. I'm sure people who have got RVs that it's just sat on the driveway for a year. It's not turned a wheel.
Yeah.
Well, you've given them a call and saying, look, you're looking to sell. They might just turn around and say, well, I haven't used it for a year, so yeah, give us a price.
Be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be different than a house situation for sure. It's going to be a whole different conversation. So, here's the funny part. If we're sitting over here, I know my brain's going 100 miles an hour. Dave's brain's going 100 miles an hour. Which means, boys, we just did our audience a disservice because we probably sent a half a dozen people on a wild, shiny object goose chase. So, for sure. But I want to see if we can crack the RV code in the U.S. We can even call that. RV code. That'll be the course.
Exactly. I think it's doable. If we can get the list, I'm telling you. We can call, text, direct mail these people. We want to buy your RV, cash as is. Response rates would be through the roof.
What kind of discounts are you typically offering? So like when we're buying a property, we're typically determining the after repair value of that property. And then we're discounting it anywhere from 20 to 40% and then taking out the repairs. And that's just kind of rule of thumb. Obviously, we can go, lower and higher. But, we're discounting it 20 to 40% typically and then taking out the repairs. Are you guys doing the same approach? Are you starting with the after repair value of these and then working through a simple equation like that? Or are you just saying, hey, I think this thing will sell for 60. Let's offer them 40.
So we'll tend to agree a price that we know we're going to make money on. We'll then get out there. If there is an issue, then we will kick them, renegotiate. So we don't do the repairs. That's the only difference.
Yeah, because what it means is we don't do the repairs, but the way we work it out is that we have to make sure the investor makes their spread, right?
So
the repairs off. then we take our fee off, and that's kind of what our
Okay.
offer is. And then we make that wholesale fee if we're going to wholesale it. So the question is, I guess, I think what you do is you look and go, these motorhomes in this year are selling online for 56 grand.
Yeah.
So we need to pay 45 cash.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Yeah.
That's pretty much how they do it.
Then if we do that and there's more repairs that need doing to them, then that offer obviously goes lower.
Very interesting.
But
Okay.
we tend to go big on the renege.
Nice. Are you guys buying other things other than the, RV motorhome? Are you buying trailers and cars and 18-wheelers and boats and planes and all this other stuff? Or is it just the motorhomes?
Just the motorhomes.
Okay, well, you got a lot of room to expand, my friend.
People do caravans, you know what you were saying, like from Snatch. People do this with caravans as well, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
What do you
just
define a
more
caravan? Like, is that just like a small vehicle that has 8 seats in it, or is this like what you refer to as a
caravan's like a travel trailer? You pull it behind the car.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, you're very niche though, which is good for the marketing.
I can't wait to see your conversation tomorrow night.
I can't either.
Man, I love it.
Cigars, whiskey, and motorhomes. That's going to be the topic of conversation for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Are you doing the consignment approach then? So you're taking these to the auction, you set a reserve, and then if it sells above that, it's done, it's a deal. And if it doesn't, do you take them back then, or do they typically sell?
They typically sell. I mean, I place the reserves at a point where they should sell. If they don't, I am on the phone to the auctioneer when the sale is on, and I'll tell him to put it on sale. And it's a funny work. Buyers are funny people.
Yeah, this is good.
Buyers are funny people. Sometimes say the bid can be at $40,000, and it's stalling. He's about to drop the hammer. There's no more. And you say to the auctioneer, put it on sale. He'll say, right, okay, it's on sale. It's here to be bought. Then it'll rally another $5,000-$6,000 just because they know they can actually buy it.
Yeah, interesting.
Because,
how many people are at these auctions? Is it like 30 people? Is it 300 people? Is it online? Is it local? How does it work?
All online and about 200.
Okay. So nobody's there, like walking them and looking at them?
No, COVID stopped that.
Okay. So are you taking pictures and videos then, or how does the buyer know what they're getting?
Okay. So have you heard of a guy called Marcus Sheridan? He wrote a book called They Ask You Answer. He's an American guy. Okay. His theory is that if you're honest with the buyer, then they'll keep coming back to you.
Okay.
So we do a full appraisal. This is outside of the auction, bearing in mind. We've got our own list of all the dealers that we know at auction. We do a walk round video, we do an appraisal form, and write everything down, every issue that we can find, good or bad. And then we send it out before the auction starts. And then that gives them the confidence to buy my motorhomes.
So you do have a list.
Yeah.
And you market that prior, and then you just basically say, hey, Tuesday at 3 p.m., it's going to be for sale.
Yeah.
Want it? This is where you go to make your bid or your offer. I love it.
Because I go by the theory that if they know what they're buying, they've got more confidence and they're going to bid more for it.
Yeah.
I mean, when your buyers buy a house, do they look around it first? Or do they go from what you guys say?
Both, depends. Normally they'll see it, but if they know, like, if you build a relationship, then it does happen the same way. And they know it's a deal if we're sending it as well. That's the key.
So you guys have a storing yard while these are waiting to be sold, and what's the longest period of time you have to hold them? That's a great question.
We tend to turn them around every 2 weeks.
The auctions every 2 weeks, essentially, then?
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's how long we hold on to them for. Maybe 3 weeks.
Nice.
Well,
what do you pay the drivers?
Oh, it's about £12 an hour, about $16 an hour, something like that.
Okay.
They tend to be retired, retired police officers or firemen.
What happens if it breaks down? You just tow it?
Oh no, that's a good story. Tell them.
Oh,
that.
Yeah,
man.
let's hear it.
This one you should. I'll send you a video of this in a bit.
This was an RV as well. Yeah. I was driving it back. I'd driven this RV about 80 miles, something like that. And I was going down a slip road. Is that what?
Getting off the motorway.
I was going off. Yeah, I was coming off the motorway, and I just felt a bit of a rumble in this RV.
This was bad.
Was there people in it?
No, just me. And
Just him.
And as you know, with RVs, there doesn't tend to be a door at the front. You've got to go to the back to get out. So I felt a little bit of a rumble. I looked down. I thought, breaking down. I thought, done. Went round the corner. Flames coming up the windscreen.
Yeah.
And then about a minute later, it was gone.
The whole thing was up in flames.
Did you still take it to the auction? It's like some of these wholesalers out there. It just needs paint.
Oh yeah, try and show that.
We'll try to send it to you. You might be able to upload it.
I'll show you this thing.
Yeah, we'll be able to, I'll get it up in a second.
Is it gonna go there?
Overlay.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna jump off while he's doing that. I got some food waiting for me, so I'm gonna let you guys wrap the day up. But I can't wait to see you guys.
Likewise, Don. See you, brother.
Yeah, this is. I don't know if you're gonna be able to get it on. Is it gonna load that? Yeah, this was wild.
You guys pulling up a screen share?
Yeah, about to. What did it come under?
Okay.
Let's see here. So we have a couple questions we can answer here in the meantime. Do you have a repairman? It doesn't sound like you're doing much repairs or you're really even offering to. You're just buying them, taking them to the auction. It sounds like the investors that are at the auction, they probably have their own dealerships and their own, repair departments, so on and so forth. That's my guess, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if we started doing repairs, then we'll probably retail them ourselves.
Do you do any radio advertising? Looks like we had a question here about that.
You know what? We got a quote the other day for one of the channels, and it was around $150,000 for 3 months.
A year?
No, for like 3 months.
Whoa, that's a lot.
And when I look at what my marketing budget is for the year, just for one station, it just wasn't worth it at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you already have a good marketing channel that's producing leads, that produces deals, why change it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have to turn the leads down because we get too many. Gav's just having a little bit of a moment here.
Jeremy says he's going to go buy a few today. I love it. Get it. That is awesome.
All right, hold on. I'm going to share my screen.
Quick time.
Is that what you already did?
No.
It's not going to allow us to do it.
You need some help, brother?
He does need help, yeah.
Because it's not.
It's nothing to do with this.
Hold on. One more try.
Just do entire screen. Well, that's not letting you do. It says it needs to close down. I won't worry about it.
No. The file's too big, so I can't show you.
Oh, okay.
Hold up.
Oh man.
That was just the start.
Yeah, that was about
the whole, because obviously the way it's made, the whole thing went up. So the whole thing was on fire.
Was that a complete loss, or were you able to salvage some of it?
No.
So what do you do with it? Just take the plates off of it and leave?
Yeah, no.
I'm kidding. I'm just
because this was on a busy road, so it got towed back and then it got scrapped. Effectively.
Oh man.
Did you just lose on that? Or do you have insurance that covers it?
We had insurance, but by the time that we claimed through the insurance excess and everything like that, it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah. What did you pay for that one?
Oh, that was a cheap one. That was about 5,000, 6,000.
But what you do, you go low end.
I know. We don't normally go low end.
What's the highest price that you're buying these for typically? Is it 200 grand? Is it 80?
We just bought the most expensive one, which must have been about 150.
50K?
150
Oh, 150. Now, is that pounds or USD? That's pounds.
US.
That's
US.
probably about 200K then USD, give or take, or
That's 150 US.
oh, 150 US. Okay. And what was the retail value on that? How big of a discount?
That would have been about 180.
Okay, that's a good disc. Yeah, that's great.
What would you expect that?
We did okay with that. We bought it for 117. It sold for 125.
Yeah, you made.
So we made about $11,000.
What's the typical expenses, not including marketing,
Yeah.
from when you buy it to the time that you sell it? So you have to drive it, you have to inspect it, you have to have people go do the videos and the images and send out. You have to store it. You got to then get it to the place. Doesn't sound like you have a ton of transfer tax, or your insurance is pretty fixed. Like, what's the average cost to get it back, market it, and then get it sold? It doesn't seem like it's a lot. Probably just
it's the general.
You're cutting out. Say that one more time for me.
Yeah, it's just the general expenses of business. There's not much for when you buy and sell one. You know, you've got insurances. I mean, I don't know how much tax do you have to pay over here?
It depends. It depends.
Tax laws over here are crazy complicated.
Yeah. We've got two. We have to pay a VAT, which is on every purchase, which is 20%, and yours is more like $5-6% here, right?
Yeah.
So our tax is 20%.
Just on the profits or on the purchase? Is that a sales tax?
That's a sales tax.
It's a sales tax. Okay, that can add up. Now, you only pay that as the buyer?
So if we buy something for 10, we'll have to pay tax on the profit.
On just the profit. Okay.
On the sale, sorry. And
so
then
you pay 20% on 10 grand.
Yeah,
you'll do 2 grand.
Yeah.
In tax on
but
that.
is that on both sides of the transaction or just the buyer side?
This is on the buyer side.
And then the seller is going to get a profit that's then taxable, but they don't have to pay that VAT.
Yeah, then they have to pay that again. And then at the end of it, when you get another tax bill on how much profit you made for the year.
You have to pay the transfer tax on both sides.
Yeah. So what he means is, so if you buy it for 10, you pay 2.
Yeah.
You sell it to Bob for 15.
Yeah.
That you don't pay any more VAT. You just pay off the profit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So just on the buy side, and then the profit is then taxable as well too.
Basically, got two lots of 20% tax.
Interesting. This is awesome, man. Well, Gavin, I'm so glad you brought your buddy on today, man. This is super fascinating. Always fun to learn new things, guys. You can flip anything. It just has to be bought at the right price. You make your money when you buy, you get paid when you sell. But let me reiterate, you make your money when you buy. That's amazing. I know people that do this with baseball cards and, random stuff like that. I do it with real estate. This guy's doing it with mobile homes and caravans. You can wholesale anything. You just got to get a good price, and you have to have a strategy to exit the purchase. Amazing.
That's it.
That's it. I love it. Well, let's wrap it up, gentlemen. Let's do it.
All right. Next week we got a guest on, right? I don't know who it is, so
I think so. Yeah.
We do. But we do. So make sure you join us every week. Coffee with Closers, 12 Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific. And we will see you next week live with a special guest that I can't remember who it is, but make sure you join us.
Who's coming on next week?
It's a decent one. Well, everyone's decent. That's
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll be back next week, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't.